when Pachacutec was a teenager, he became one of the strongest soldiers in the army. And they say that Cusco was the ancient city of Cusco was having some troubles with the enemies. There was another tribe that wanted to come and take possession of this place and probably dominate the other 18 tribes. Yeah, but the Inca number 8, called Huiracocha, who was his grandfather, he escaped from Cusco because he was scared. Pachacutec, and he had a dream, and they say that his God, or the Inca God, promised him that he was going to give him a victory, that he shouldn't move from here. It was like this mythical promise. So Pachacutec arranged his army, and then he probably had hundreds of soldiers, and they went for a massive fight against the enemies of Cusco, and he was able to defeat them. When he defeated the other tribes, the main enemies of Cusco, the other tribes came down and supported him. And from that moment, they said that he was going to be the leader of all this area. And historically talking, that was around the 1438. So that was 238 years after the first groups of people came. And Pachacutec is the number 9, and he was the man that he was able to start the expansion of the Inca power in the Americas, or in South America in this case. The expansion of the Incas from the center to the north and to the south only lasted for less than 100 years. And then when the Spanish came, but there was a big thing happening here. When the Spanish came and they conquered the Incas, they were 168 soldiers. 106 of them were on foot, the rest were on horses. And some of them, they were friars, or they were religious people. And they were like 12 of them were notaries, which means that they came here to put in papers. And they put this documentation of these documents, and they show it to the king of Spain. Everything that it was according to what their benefits, they wrote it down. And how much was the population in the Americas or in South America in that moment? We believe that the Quechuas, the leader was the Inca, and the only person that he was allowed to be called Inca, it was the king. The rest, the population, are Runas or Quechuas. They also speak the language that you can hear in the mountains. That's the official language of the ancestors. And today it's considered to be the third most spoken language in South America, after the Spanish and Portuguese. If you walk around the Plaza of Cusco, you will see a flag, and this flag is with a rainbow color. Yes. A lot of people get confused and they think it's the LGBT flag or something. But no, this is the Quechua flag, the Quechua people. Yeah, and in Peru we have a population of 33 million, and at least 5 and a little bit more of that, a little bit more of 5 million, they will speak Quechua as a first language. Yeah, so this was the system back in the days. You see, that was the Inca. The Inca was the head, the king, the leader, the emperor. And then underneath his power, it was the royalty. The nobility was given, the nobles were given by privilege or by blood. They were families of these ones. Or they became part of the army, and they became part of the family of the Incas, and that was a privilege to be noble. And then underneath, it was the pueblo. The pueblo means the town. The town were builders, soldiers, agricultures. And thanks to these guys in South America, thanks to the ancient farmers in the Andes, we can say that Peru is the land of potatoes. You see it? There are more potatoes here. It's believed that today we have 5,000 varieties of potatoes. Yeah, and then we also have quinoa or corn. We have corns and quinoa. Today in the Western world, eating quinoa is very trendy. You eat quinoa and then you do yoga. That's the way it is. But that was the food from the ancestors, guys. And we also believe, oh my guys, it's crazy, guys. If it rains too much, we will just see. Well, I will tell you the story and we'll move a little bit. But if it rains too much, you will see what is best for you. All right? And a long time ago, we believe that the original city of Cusco was in a shape of one animal. The animal, it was a puma.
Okay.
The original city of Cusco was in this layout. Yeah, so basically if you come a little closer, pardon, papi. You guys see that mountain with the cross on the top is this mountain here. And this mountain will be the head of the puma. And then the back, between the left and the right mountain, there is a crack, and that will be the back. And I mean, in that crack there is a river, and the river was canalized by the builders, and that will be the back of the puma. And then there is another river coming underneath this street, and the river would still flow like this. So Cusco is like that. But the question is, how was Cusco back in the days, back in the old times? We believe that Cusco might have been like this. So you can see the river is here, and then the other river is coming this way. And then the Plaza de Armas here. And then on the left side there was a big temple, an Inca temple there. There was another temple in where that church is located. That was the first temple that they created when they arrived in Cusco in the 1200s. The first guy who came to Cusco was Manco Capac. He was the first leader. And then there was another temple here, and apparently the Incas believed that this was the main temple of the Inca gods. You know, like in many religions, people believe in El is the gods, Elohim for the Jews, Allah for the Muslims, Krishna. I don't know how many gods exist in India, but I think it's more than 2,000 gods or whatever. In Cusco, the main temple of the Inca god was located here. When the Spanish understood that that was the temple, they decided to wipe it down and build the main cathedral. The main cathedral was built up on the top of the main Inca temple, Inca God's temple. The Inca God, the name was called Huiracocha. Huiracocha is the official name, means the Lord, but the official name is Apu Kontiki Iya Texi Huiracocha Pachayachachik Runakamak. Hakuna Matata. That was the temple. Inside that temple, you guys can, if you have a chance, you will be able to see sometimes a big mass, you know, because 90% of the people are Catholic here. But inside the church, you will find a very amusing picture, which depicts the Last Supper of Jesus. The Last Supper of Jesus is a guinea pig. Can you see the guinea pig in the middle? This is the style and the religion that started in the Andes. And they try to play with their heads and convince the locals that Jesus, you know what, I mean, we are Christian, I am Christian now, but in the Andes, they try to put art to convince, to Christianize the people. And how do we feel about that, Peruvians? You know, it's okay, you know, it's whatever happened 500 years ago is part of the history. We like Spanish people today, so that you know, we don't have anything to judge or, I mean, I wish it was different, but if the Spanish wouldn't be the ones who come and conquer the Incas, probably it was going to be someone else. Probably the British, probably the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch, and you name it. The Spanish were the first ones, you know. And when they found Cusco, they believed that Cusco was the city of gold called El Dorado, because this city was full of gold treasures. All the temples that they found, they had decoration with chips of gold around it. All this gold was melted, and they have to prove that to the king. And that's why in Latin America, we are over 500 million people that speak Spanish today, you know. And then the second most spoken language is Portuguese. It's 220 million. And then is the language of the Incas, the Quechua, the third most spoken language. You know, that's the way it is. Let's go this way. Perdón, disculpa. Look, that's why the Peruvians are very fascinating. You know, our history goes back to thousands and thousands of years. You know, like any other civilization in the world, like, you know, in Asia. In fact, they say that the Peruvian DNA